Hi, everybody. Sharona here, and welcome to another episode of Conversations That Matter Most. I am your one of your hosts today, and of course, I am here. Wait a minute, my microphone is attacking my lips. I am here, of course, with my wonderful co-host and a wonderful, totally groovy human being all array around, Claudette. Hi, Claudette.
Hi, Sharona. Hi, everyone. So happy to be here. And of course, I always love to be here with you, Sharona. We always have a great time, and today will be just the same.
It,
So, yay!
Yay! That's right. And if we're not having a good time, viewers, just put it in the box and just say, need more good times. We'll be happy to do that. Um, for those who are new, welcome. For those who have been here before, yay! Thank you for the support. And we've been doing this now over a year. And and already I realized today it's January 11th. Oh my God! Where the heck
Where
is this
does
time
the
going? Where the hell is the time going? So we're going to today. Our topic is going to be attention to your intention. And when Claudette and I were talking about this, we I have this thing about I'm like anti-resolution. I'm going to just be upfront about that. But there's something about reflecting and reviewing. And last week we talked about what are you going to do differently in 2017 than what you did from 2016. And today we wanted to look at what is your intention? What is our intention as we move forward through the year? What is your intention? What do what do you want to focus on as we continue on this journey? And for those who don't know me, I am a midlife women dancing with change specialist, and I've been I'm sometimes I call myself the dancing warrior of change because I've been dealing with change for many, many, many years now. And I know Claudette, you just say a little bit about uh, what you do.
What I do? All right. So, thanks, Sharona. And by the way, Sharona, you're an amazing change warrior, just so you know.
Thank you.
So, again, thank you for being here. If this is the first time, welcome. If you've been here before, yay, we're happy to have you back. So, my name is Claudette Chenevert, and I'm known as the Stepmom Coach. And I love to work with stepmoms in creating stronger and healthier step families, one step at a time. And as Sharona said, well, we do these episodes because Shona and I enjoy having conversations, and these conversations oftentimes are around topics that we felt were important, at least to us and to the people we work with. And we were hoping to share them with you and maybe inspiring you in starting a dialogue, not necessarily agreeing with what we're saying. Even Sharona and I don't agree on certain things.
No.
And that's fine. I mean, it's a matter of respecting our differences, which I think is super important, but also to have a place to share our differences in our conversation. And so today, as Shona mentioned, we want to talk about intention. Um, why? Not necessarily doing resolutions, but at least putting some intentions and plans for what I want to do in the coming year. And so we'll talk a little bit about that more in today's episode.
Yeah, and I think one of the things is I stopped doing resolutions years ago when I realized that everything is okay until you hit that first wall. That first wall, whatever that wall is, suddenly it's like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. And also, a lot of times we keep harping on the same resolution. We keep harping on doing, the one I hear a lot about is, weight loss and, and it's like, okay, baby, let's just rein it in a little bit. And what is it that you want? And then recently I was listening to somebody and they said, be careful what you ask for because it will show up in a way that you don't think it. So let's say you're have more courage. Well, things are going to happen in your life that's going to have to bring you into having more courage. So, um, and again, what we resist persists. So if
Yep.
we're constantly worrying about what our weight is or what we look like, what happens is we get thrown things at us to keep reminding us that's what we're focusing on. So
Mm.
I think today it's a little bit more about, and intention for me is something that comes from the inside out. It's about, what do I intend? Like for instance, this morning, and today was my intention was to show up the best I can in the moment, and that might not look like what other people think showing up looks like, but that's what it shows up. This is how I show up. Um, and so as I start reviewing and thinking about, the next, and I'm not talking about the whole year. I can't focus on the whole year of intentions, but I can focus on what's my daily attention? What do I want to bring? What do I want to focus on? What do I want to create for today?
Mm.
And then I could,
You-
and yeah, go ahead.
so I just wanted to say, like, like, I loved how you described the intention, your definition of intention. And for me, a lot of times, and for you, you said it starts from the inside out, and I love that definition. For me, intention is about putting actions behind what you want to focus on. And so sometimes I'll hear people say, but that was my intention to do this. And although it's nice to express that was an intention, if you don't put any action behind that in of wanting to do something or to change, or it's not going to do anything, or it's not going to do any good. So when, like, for you, Sharona, you said your intention is to show up the best you can. And well, at least you're doing something, like you're showing up. There's an action behind that, right? And so for me, whenever people talk about intention, I really I want to see some kind of action. It doesn't have to be big. And I think that's the one thing when you were talking about people talking about losing weight, you know, the words you choose. I was in what was it? A contest of some sort about losing weight. And instead of saying I was losing weight, I would say I was giving it away to someone who needed it more than I did. Because the aspect of losing means you looking to get it back, right?
Mm,
So if
right.
you lose something, you may be looking to regain it at some point in the future because you lost it. So for me, whenever I talk about weight, I say I'm giving it away, or I'm releasing it to the universe, or I'm releasing the excess that I have and giving it to someone else who needs it more than I do.
Nice. I like that. I like that. Yeah. Yeah. And I like putting that what you said about putting action on what you want to focus on, and adding that, so it starts from the inside out, and you got to take an action, and an action again doesn't have to be we don't have to be grandiose about it. It's a small itsy bitsy baby step. So, for instance, for those, I know some midlife women that I'm connected with, they want to, get stronger, start building up their muscles and their balance. Because one of the things as women, for some reason, as we get older, we kind of lose our balance and we fall down. So, Again, we're not going to do 5,000 bicep curls if we never exercised before. We're going to do one or five bicep curls with maybe a water bottle filled
Okay.
with water, right? Just five. One, two, right? Right, a water bottle. Everyone has a water bottle at home. Or you know what? You can even use a little ball or something just to give that sense of holding weight. And then, and so where this putting into action with your intention is, then there needs to be a schedule and a consistency to it. And I think that we do is we get so gung ho at the beginning of whatever we're doing that we don't pace ourselves to follow through to the end. And then the other place that we get stuck, and let me know what you think about it, is when I call hitting a wall. When it's not going the way we perceive it's supposed to be going, suddenly we go, oh, that's it, and we
Yep.
throw in the towel. What do you think about
Yeah,
that?
and I see that a lot, especially when we're talking about stepmoms. You know, they have this idea of how their family should be functioning, and all of a sudden it's not going according to plan. Well, first of all, you know, you can't have intentions or goals or resolutions or whatever it is, especially if other people are involved, because you can't control other people, right? You can only control what you're doing and when you're contributing. And so when you're hitting the wall, as you say, Sharona, you know, sometimes it may be just a time to say, hey, let's reflect on what you've already done. Let's use the rear view mirror approach here. You know, where did you start? Where are you now? Well, you did some progress and now you just stop. Think of it as, this is my lunch break. I need to put gas in my car, or you know, maybe I need to reroute my agenda or my travel plans here. Maybe it's time to, what does the GPS say? Recalculating,
Recalculating.
right? To recalculate when you have an obstacle. And maybe that wall is just to say, is it still working for you? Now, how many times have we set goals, intentions, resolution, whatever you want to call it, and to realize that I don't want this anymore. I don't want this great promotion that's going to keep me home every single night instead of with my family. I don't want to be, you know, running this half marathon where I need to sacrifice like all this extra time that I don't currently have. I don't want to be spending time with this person who makes me feel so about myself. I was going to say another word, but so terrible about myself that, you know, I feel like so little and so worthless, you know. So when you find these walls, especially the first walls, think of them as these are pit stops to, all right, reevaluate. Is this really what I want? Well, first of all, look in your rear view mirror where you came from and acknowledge yourself for whatever you've done. And even if it's 4 steps, you've done 4 steps. You're 4 steps ahead than you were before. Reevaluate. This is a pit stop. Do you still want to do this? Is this something that holds you close to your heart still? And if so, maybe you might just need to recalculate the strategies you set in place, if you had put some strategies in place, right?
Yeah, and you know what? One of the things is, as you were talking, I'm realize I'm going back and forth. I just I fidget in my chair. One of the things that came up to me as you were talking about hitting the wall, one is struggle. There's a difference between struggling through an obstacle and suffering through an
Mm-hmm.
obstacle. And there's a certain point where we need to have a little struggle. Struggle is part of life. There is this thing that, if I'm at peace with myself or contentment or whatever, there's no struggle. No, struggle is part of it. It's that yin and yang. You have to find that place of um, like for instance, stress. Certain stress is very important in our health and well-being, and overdoing stress can be catastrophic to our well-being. So there's that, again, that yin and yang of in and out, ebb and flow. And so we forget that whatever we're doing or changing, and there's struggle and change. There is struggle in life. There is struggle and change. If we're suffering around the change, then we got, let's take a step back. And also, sometimes before we know you're going, I always say, you're going to hit walls. Know it. It's a fact of life. Nothing goes smoothly. Nothing.
Yep.
Right? So have a strategy in place when you hit walls. I always go back. I use the marathon, even though it's been, many years since I've done it. But it was one of the wonderful things that I learned about doing something that stretched me way outside my comfort zone. Was because that's what the coaches kept saying. You're going to hit the wall. Now, since I've never done a marathon, I didn't know what the hell a wall was. And when I hit that first one, I go, oh, this is a wall. So first of all, acknowledge the wall. And then I realized, well, if I'm going to hit a wall, and I didn't know I was going to hit 15 walls, but I hit the first one, and I said, if I'm going to hit a wall, and this is before I started running the marathon, and when I was in training, then I'm going to have a strategy. And my strategy was really simple. And that's the thing, is let's keep it simple, peoples. One is, all I did was I would count steps until I was able to run. And I'm putting that in air quotes because I'm not a runner, but to move forward. So, what I'm going to say, as midlife women, we hit many walls already, and we've had certain strategies so far. Things might be shifting. Those strategies that we used before might not be working now. So start looking at a simple strategy as you move forward. And you know what? It could be, you have to move forward from, a work related, because that's not working for you, or a relationship is ending or something. So you're going to hit your walls as you go through the change. And as you create your intentions for this next 3 months, you're going to hit walls with those intentions too. What are some simple strategies you can use as you hit the walls so you can keep moving forward?
Yeah, I just want to add that I love what you said about hitting our walls, and we're all going to hit walls. I think of them as life, especially if I'm thinking about, stages in the family, stages in the relationship. We all have stages where, there's this moment we're stuck, or we feel out of being in the relationship, and acknowledging that we're going to have a wall is great. Where I think I want to put a little bit more emphasis is, acknowledge that there's going to be a wall, but don't stay focused on the wall. Look beyond the wall. Look on top of the wall or around the wall. So if you focus on being stuck, if you're going to stay there, you said in the beginning, Sharona, what you resist persists. And then also what you focus on, right? So if you keep focusing on being stuck at the wall, or being stuck in the relationship, or focusing on the problem, you're going to stay there. And so that's why it's nice to have at least some intention, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, a year, 10 years, whatever your view, whatever length of time you want to focus on, your intention, your goal, whatever, have it far enough that you can achieve it. And if it's something super big, like for the last, I would say probably 10, 15 years, my husband and I have been talking about retirement. And for us, it wasn't that we wanted to retire within right away, but retirement was for 15 years and us. Well, for us, we needed to put money aside. And that was like a reality. If you want to retire, we need to put money aside. And as we get closer, and we've had a lot of obstacles where college, we had some weddings, we moved, my husband lost his job. So those are all walls and obstacles. But then as we progress, we're getting closer and closer. So we need to focus a little bit more intensely on that goal. And the same for relationships. If you have stepkids that are living at home, different, your focus is going to be very different than if you focus on, well, when my husband and I are going to be alone together, this is what it's going to look like. And I'm sure, Sharona, you have some ideas or suggestions on how a midlife woman could see something for the future. But if you and some of the walls and obstacles they will encounter. But I want to just maybe talk about being careful not to focus just on being stuck or focus on the obstacles or on the wall, because if that's your focus, you're going to stay there and you won't be able to see what opportunities come up to you so that you can move around or above or maybe even below that wall or that obstacle.
Yeah, and when I was saying about, you're going to hit a wall, I wasn't, my intention was not to say you're going to focus on that, but know that it's coming.
Yep.
And when I say simple strategy, so for instance, let's say as a midlife woman, we're dealing with a career change. Let's just say we're dealing with a career change. And we want to have, we need to now look at, we need to leave where we are, or maybe that already left. And we only got so much time because, we need to get back into the swing of things. So let's say we're going to give ourselves 6 months to make that transition. And it might, you might need to do it in 3, and you're still going to, or 2, but we're going to make it 3 months. Now, as you're going forward, you're going to have to get all these things in place to make that career change, right? You're going to have to do that. So one of the things is, you're going to hit a wall. Like, for instance, you go to your first interview and it doesn't go well and you don't get the rep. That is a wall. You don't get your first, maybe you do, but a lot of people don't. If they haven't interviewed for a while, they don't usually, because interviews are whack-a-dilly. And they're stress inducers. So one of the things is, so all the little pieces that you have to have in place, like you and your retirement, there's all these little pieces that you have to have in place. So each piece has to have a strategy around it. And each piece is going to have little walls in there. So one of the things is, I always say, do dress rehearsals. So for instance, if you're going to have your first interview in a week, you get to practice interviewing for that job for a week. Get, know what you're going to wear, what you're going to say, what questions they're going to ask. Okay. That's just one thing. Now, in that, there's going to be a wall or, so your intention is to nail that interview, right? You got to create all the little simple strategies and dress rehearsals and practice to make it happen. So it's building up a new muscle. So the intention is, I think, what are you bringing to the table? What do you want to focus on? So here's the thing is, fear is going to come up. discouragement is going to come. Um, contentment, bliss is going to come. What are you going to do with all that? And that's when I say that's a simple strategy. When fear comes up and I'm afraid to walk through that front door and shake that person's hand before I do the interview, how am I going to practice moving through that fear? The fear isn't going to go away, but how do I move forward through that fear? How do I lean into it? Does that make sense? So I agree with you. It's like we can't focus on just the fear. I'm afraid of the interview. I'm afraid of the interview. No, 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 no. Acknowledge the fear, take a breath in, and then say, okay, what can I do to move forward through the fear? Bring the fear with me. Come on, fear, come along with me. You're my sidekick. I'm afraid. And I'm going to tell you, everybody in that interview room is afraid too.
Yeah. And I love that you and I love that you're telling, like, be okay with fear, because when we tend to be too comfortable, that's when things sort of like fall apart. You're in a relationship, a job interview, whatever it is, even in relationships, I know that I will be the first one to say that when my relationship is too full, all of a sudden we have these little spats. And not that we love arguing, but we just need to, it just gets too comfortable. And I know, and I've seen that when relationships are too comfortable, that's when people start to drift apart. And so, and it's the same within families when they're too comfortable, you know. And it's not that I'm encouraging people to have arguments. Let's be clear here. That's not what I'm saying. But sometimes we need to challenge our beliefs, and challenge, you know, what it is that we want in a relationship. And that you know, we may not think we know people the way we know them. You know, people are not, they're not set in stone. We change. And we need to acknowledge that we're different, we change, and to share those changes. And again, if your intention is to be with this person for a long time, then you will need to get off your butt and, you know, be interested in this person and be curious, and yes, be challenged sometimes by this person.
Yeah, and I like I like that what you said about being comfortable. That's when things start to unravel, because we have this hallucination that if we stay in our comfort zone, if everything is the same, then everything is going to be all right. But that's not what life's about. Life, if you watch life outside of humanness, life is a constant give and take. And there, again, there's struggle is part of life. There's this constant ebb and flow of finding the moments of action and inaction, you know, day and night. And there's all those transitions in between, if you think about it. Yeah, we don't foster the belief that you have to go down into brawls every day, but we do believe to you know, is sometimes you need to shake it up a little bit. Shake it up. And again, I think I'm going to go back as we wrap up to those questions that you started at the beginning, Claudette. You know, is this working for me? Is this relationship, is you know, still viable for me? Or, you know, and it might not that I have to leave it, but what's not working? What do I need to shift around here, that so that way there is more of a being in sync and in line with not just my partner and offspring and stepkids and all, you know, or work relationships is the same thing, you know, what's not working. So, you know, and review that. Again, I like your metaphor. Look in the rearview mirror and know what you've done so far. Review that. And then, you know, what do you want to take with you as you move forward, and what do you want to leave behind? So those are some things that you might want to do. And also ask yourself, I think this is a vital question. What do I want my life to be like? What do I want to create now in my, at least for in my midlife as I move forward? And what's my intention as I continue on my life's journey? Anything you want to add before we wrap up here, Claudette?
No, I think you summed it up really well. And again, what works for one person, what works for us may not work exactly the same for you. So you need to find your own groove, your own recipe, your own secret sauce, whatever it is. And you need help with finding your secret sauce or your groove or whatever it is, we would love to help you. So if you're a stepmom and you're looking for someone to help you find what it is you need in order to create the kind of life and create the intentions that are designed for you, you can reach me at Claudette at stepmomcoach.com. Visit my website at Claudette. My website is stepmomcoach.com. You can also use hashtag stepmomcoach or hashtag stepmomwisdom, and you'll find all kinds of social media that I'm on. On my website, I also offer 6 e-courses on various topics that will help you get started in creating a stronger and healthier step family. What about you, Sharona? How can midlife women get a hold of you if they're looking for their secret sauce or their grooviness?
I there in my head, because that's where I go, there's all kinds of things going about secret sauce. So I wrote it down because I'm gonna write a haiku about that one. So yeah, if you're a midlife woman and you're at that point that you hit a wall, and somehow you try to dig around it, build a door in it, go over it, and then you're still at that wall, and you're totally lost your groove and you want to get totally groovy again. You can reach me at Sharona at midlifewomendancingwithchange.com. My website, of course, is www.midlifewomendancingwithchange.com. You can reach me at hashtag midlife women dancing with change. You can find me on social media that way, or hashtag emotional impact, or hashtag thriving in the midst of midlife change. And I'm all over the place on social media. On my website right now, if you sign up, you get a free, wonderful 6-part mini e-seminar, Thriving in the Midst of Midlife Change. I'm in the process of finishing up my Courageous Midlife Women, Taking Risks, Reaping Rewards. That's going to be a playbook to help you through that. And I'm also going to be working on a 4-week, which will be coming soon, a 4-week live a series of working through attention to your attention and how to thrive wholeheartedly in body, mind, and spirit. So those are some ways that you can, and of course you can always, if you have questions, you can, or if you have any comments or you have any ponderings, you can comment below. Also, look through our past episodes. We got everything from procrastination to having strong boundaries. So you can look through that. Fear, anger, fear, right? All that. Yeah, a lot. There's a lot. There's got to be over 55, almost close to 60 now of these episodes. Go through them. Have a pen and paper, crayon. and take notes, share them, subscribe to our channel. So thank you, everybody, for being here today. And thank you, Claudette, for another awesome, even with our secret sauce, awesome sauce, uh, episode of Conversations That Matter Most. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Claudette.
Thank you, Sharona. Bye, everyone. See you
Bye,
soon.
everybody.